You know, you mentioned Coach Spurrier. I got to ask you about Steve Spurrier. You played for the Hall of Famer, the legend. Just talk about, again, you talked about Spurrier Jr., those first interactions, though, with Coach Spurrier. What was it like being around him again? He's got a different relationship with everybody, especially the defensive guys. And I know you guys gave his offenses hell in practice. But, yeah, what was the relationship like with Coach Spurrier? What do you remember most, I guess, from being around him?
He's just a funny guy, man. He's very down to earth. He spoke to everybody, whether you was a walk on or if you was, counter shar or clowny. Like he spoke to you just like you speak to everybody else. As long as you didn't, get in trouble, you came to practice, work hard. He didn't, he really didn't bother you. He didn't do too much with defense. Never really see him in our meetings. Only time I would really interact with him is during special teams meetings and practice if we was going against each other and stuff like that. But he was pretty cool to me. I didn't really get to be hands on with him as much as offensive guys. So
Right. No,
to some of us that'd be a good thing.
Yeah.
Not having to deal with your head coach but too much. But
yeah, I was going to say he let those defensive guys kind of handle their business. I want to ask you about just the state of the program, Aldrick, when you got there, because like I said, you got there at a really interesting time. Steve Spurrier was building those first couple of years, and then I really think 2009 you kind of started to see what was happening, the wheels turning, and then of course 2010 you guys go on the run, go to the SEC title game, and then 11 and 12 and 13 just speak for themselves. But could you kind of feel that when you got there? I mean, was that what sort of was sold to you and told you that, hey, we're just a couple of pieces away from really getting this thing rolling and, contending to go to Atlanta?
Yeah, that's what they, I think all recruiters will feed you that. Like, we're almost there, we're working on something big. But when we got there in 2009, when we got to like spring training, not spring training, the fall practice. Like it was so competitive, man. Especially all the guys that was in my class, the 2009 class. Like most people want to come in if they know they're not going to start. They may have the mindset like, "Hey, I'm going to redshirt." But everybody in my class that came in, we bust that ass. Hey, we competed in practice. So like, Devontae Holloman, DJ Swearinger, Alshon Jeffrey, Demario Jeffrey, myself. Didi, like we had a lot of guys that came in that, provided on the field. Justice Cunningham, like that actually contribute as freshmen. And, when you got young people coming in as freshmen that's, basically showing out the older guys, then that's going to make them compete harder because, in most programs, if you got somebody that's younger that can produce for 4 years, give you good time for 4 years, then you got somebody that's that can give you another year, and you're gonna go ahead and put that young guy in. So I think and even in the class before that, like they had a lot of good players also, like Travian, Melvin, Cully, Steven Garcia. We had like a lot of older guys that were athletes, and then our class came in that could fill in, and then we had a couple recruiting classes after that. So it was very competitive in practice. I will tell you that.
Yeah, Audrey, you bring up a great point, too, and something that I think when I had DJ on the show, he sort of echoed as far as busting people's ass. And I think it just kind of goes back to, like I said, you were a 3-star prospect at a high school, but, I mean, none of that mattered. And DJ kind of echoed that, just saying 1 star to 5-star, you put on your pads the same way. We're bringing the goon squad mentality. We're coming at you. And I feel like, again, you guys sort of, and that's something I think South Carolina is trying to get back to right now, is having that swagger and having that edge. And you guys really played with that chip on your shoulder. Like the goon squad mentality was a real thing for you guys, whether it was practice, whether it was a game, like that was a forever mood for you guys every time you took the field.
Yeah. And man, our D-line coach Long, he don't get a lot of credit, but he's a big part of that. Like he was on 1,000 every day in practice. Like you're not gonna walk, you're not gonna jog, like you're not gonna give half effort. Like he was on you. Like even if he don't promote you to fight, but stuff get testy, and if you don't like show that you have that mindset that you're gonna fight back and you're not gonna let nobody push you over, he's gonna let you hear about it. Like he don't want anybody walking over you. And as a defensive line, we set that tone. And we had DBs like DJ Swearinger, who was very vocal that he's ready to lay that wood at any time in practice. So yeah, it was fun, man. Coach Long was a really big part of that. Like he's a smart guy. Like he knew the defense from DBs to D linebackers to D linemen. Like, he knew every single thing about it. Like, he could be a defensive coordinator if he wanted to. I just think he just rather just work with the D line.
No, dude, it was crazy having him on my show and having him talk about pass rush. And I mean, the dude's a mastermind. My mind was blown. Like, you'd never think there's truly the art of the pass rush. Like, it's not just go after the quarterback. It is a chess game that he would play with offensive lines.
If you look at his time at South Carolina, we've had so many defensive linemen come from him. Like, it's crazy, man.
Yeah,
like,
setting sack records and everything.
Yeah. He was an asshole, but he knew his stuff, man. Like, everybody respected him.
Yeah. Hey, that's normally the best ones are like that, though. Hey, Coach Spurrier was like that, too.